completed the warm-up. I took the other thing with my phone. So I completed the warm-up. So now the warm-up is completed, and you can push enter. Enter here. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually going to turn it off so I can hear myself talk. When you turn the machine off, it keeps running. And that's because it's the machine keeps kind of running when you turn it off. And that's because the fan inside of it is still cooling down the machine. Ah, there we go. We can hear ourselves speak now. Okay. So, the machine has already been warmed up. So now when I turn it on, we will not need to do a warm-up. So I want to show you what it looks like when there's no warm-up. So this is the door of the machine, and it's a super heavy door. It's lead lined, so it's well, not lead lined. The door is made of lead, so it's really protective. When you open the door, you just unlock it using this. Then you grab the big handle and pull it like that. Super heavy. So what you do not want to do is you don't want to pull it using this, like I'm doing now, because these are very small little bolts and they can eventually come off. Yeah. So again, this is just to unlock it, and then you pull it this way. And then to close it and lock it, you just gently go like this and push. So this little click, and then there you go. So I'm going to do some talking while we still hear ourselves. This sheet here is the full operational manual for this machine, and yes, it's only one page. That's how simple this machine is. So this goes through all the instructions for what you need. The little sheet on the left is identical to this sheet here, and those are just the kind of the short form instructions. So most time you come in, all you need is this little sheet. So it's really, really simple. I want to point out on the keypad. So the upper keypad is used for this guy here. The lower keypad is used for this guy here. So you might see this little line that separates them. It's like you have one panel and then the lower panel, and this keyboard is used for this, and this one is used for this. So you never use this for this or this for this. So if you see instructions that tell you press enter here, you're going to want to push the enter button up here. And if it says push enter here, you're going to push the enter button down there. Again, so this guy is that one, and this guy is this one. Something important to know about the enter buttons is if you feel them, the top one, so you see the top enter button is a little bigger than the bottom one. The top enter button has 3 raised bumps. The first bump is around the E, the second bump is around the T, and the third bump is around the R. You have to push those bumps to make it work. If you push in between, so if I put my finger here and push, nothing happens. The same here, nothing happens. So you either push here, here, or here. And to make a proper push of the buttons, you just kind of do a push just like that. So not too hard, don't hold it down, otherwise you're going to get a double click. The enter button at the bottom only has 2 bumps. So the first bump is around where the E is, and the second bump is a little bit left of the R. So this is good, this is bad, and this is good over here. And again, just do a firm but quick push to push the button. If you do anything weird and you push the button too hard, and you get into a weird zone that you can't figure out where you are, and you're trying to hit reset and you just can't figure it out, just turn it off and turn it back on. So just turn it counterclockwise to the off position, wait a few seconds, and then turn it back on. It's a very simple computer. It reboots almost instantly. Actually, I don't even know if you could even consider this a computer. It's very, very simple. On this sheet here has conversions from monitor units to dose in gray, and also times for irradiation. And the column on the left here is for the filter 2, if you're going to do like an animal or a falcon tube, anything that has some thickness. And on the right is filter 1, so that's if you're going to do cells, so anything very, very thin. So for each of these columns you have the dose on the left, that's in gray. You have the monitor units in the middle. Again, monitor units are an arbitrary unit that the machine uses. And any particular machine will probably have different monitor units for different gray. So these tables give it specifically for this machine. So the monitor units is kind of the machine's own internal system of units, but the gray is actually it's kind of the absolute unit. So this is, you're trying to prescribe gray, and in order to prescribe gray, you have to give it a certain MU. So again, MU is its own. Think of it as the machine's. It's the machine's own language. So you have to translate from one to the other. The time is on the third column of each of these sets, and that gives you the approximate time that it takes to deliver that much dose. So for example, if I want to give it 0.75 gray, it's going to take it about 0.37 minutes, which is like 20 something seconds. If I want to give it 5.75 gray, it's going to take 3 minutes. And at the very bottom here, there are formulas to calculate the relationship between dose, MU, and time. So, for example, for filter 2, this whole set is animals. The MU is the dose times 8011. So, for example, if you want to deliver 10 gray, you're going to punch in 80110 for the MU. So that's 80,000 MU. The time is over here. It's dose plus this number divided by this number. But I would encourage you in general not to use time for anything, just as a general idea for how long it's going to take for this to run. Over here on this wall on the left is the main switch. It's the main power switch. You'll never use that unless something catches on fire. If something catches on fire and you have a chance, switch that off. But you'll probably never have to touch that. This little switch here is the power switch for the transformer. Again, if something catches on fire, if you could turn that off, that would be great, but you'll for sure you'll never have to touch this. On the panel here, there is the emergency stop button. And you know, you don't really ever need to use that, but if you ever do, like say, oh my god, I need to stop the x-rays, and you hit it, to reset it, all you do is just pull it back out. There's nothing complicated about that. So let's look at what's inside the machine. Again, just click and pull. So we've got, this is the shelf here, this is the main shelf. So you're going to do all your radiations on the shelf. If you ever walk in and the shelf has been pulled out and put somewhere, put it back in there, because if you irradiate something at the bottom, you'll get much less radiation than you expect. This machine here is a collimator, so it will help to block off the X-ray beams on the outside, so it can make your field of view smaller or bigger. This thing here is it's the monitor for the X-ray, so it tells you how much radiation has gone through. And the most important thing is the filter. So I pull it out, You have two different filters. This is the F2 filter. This is for F2 is for animals. This is for animals. So this has 1.5 millimeters aluminum, 0.25 copper, 0.75 of tin, and it's just a sheet of metal. But what happens is when the X-rays go through this, it filters out. It filters out the lower energy X-rays. So you have a little bit higher energy X-rays that are going through, so that they can go through the object and penetrate it. Because otherwise you're just going to get a surface dose, so you're going to burn the skin and you're not going to do much else. The other one, the F1 down here, is for if you're going to do petri dish and stuff, and it filters out more of the high energy X-rays and lets the lower ones through. Because for this case, you want to burn the surface. You want to hit the surface. You don't want to have the X-rays going through it and then not doing anything. So this is more of a surface burn. The F2 is more a whole body burn. When you put the filter in the little filter slot, you just gently put it right in there. So you have the F2 kind of like, not like this, but like this. Actually, I don't think you could put it in the wrong way. No, it won't let you put it in the wrong way. So you just have you know, the text in the normal way facing you, and you just put it in like this, and you slide it in gently, and at the last second you push it a little bit and click it in. So you need that little click in at the end. You'll also notice in there's a anesthesia tube and a scavenger. So if you want to anesthetize your animal while they're inside, you can do that. And those hoses go out the side. So if you look over on the side, there are two hoses coming down. I don't really want to touch them, but this one here is the scavenger tube, which goes to a vacuum on the left. And the one hanging down just right here is your anesthetic tube. On the wall down here, you can see the tube for the vacuum. Right there. That's your scavenger. Okay. So now we're going to turn the machine on, and I might have to talk to you live during the class because you probably can't hear me anymore once I turn it on. When you turn it on, you just turn it all the way to on. There's a middle section that's standby. To be brutally honest with you, I have no idea what that does. So just turn it to on all the way. Maintenance do, say no. Maintenance do. Forget the maintenance, we're going to say no, so you're going to push the F2, which lines up with no. Now, I already did a warm-up, so it's not saying warm-up required, so it's not saying warm-up necessary, so you do not need to do a warm-up. Okay, so we turned it on. We saw HV plugs maintenance do. We said no, F2. If warm-up necessary, before the warm-up. Otherwise, go directly to step 3. So I've already warmed the machine up. Up here, it does not say warm-up necessary. So we're going to skip that and go straight to our checklist. Now you have to do this checklist because the machine's really dumb. And it has no idea if you have the filter in or not, if you have the shelf in or not. It doesn't, there's a lot of things it has no idea what it's doing. So you have to check it yourself. First we're going to check, are we at 320 kV? Yes, we are. Now what do you do if it's not? Like, let me screw it up here. What if, oh my God, we're not at 320, we're at 250. What are we going to do? Well, you want to adjust kV, so you go down to this buttons here, and you see kV right here. So I'm going to push F1 for kV. Then I'm going to type in 320. 320 and enter. And now that's set. And the same for all the other ones. Like if I want to do MA, let's say I'm going to screw up MA here. I'm at 5 MA. Well, no, I want to be at 10 MA. So I'm going to push F2, which is for the MA. I'm going to go to 10. And that's in decimals. So we're going to need to push a couple more zeros to get it to 10 and then enter. Now, I encourage you to use dose mode, so we want the timer to be 0. So that's the first 3 checks have been done. 320, check. 10 milliamps, check. Timer 0, check. Next check, is the shelf installed? Well, let's look. It's installed, so it's right there. So we're all good. The next check, field of view 20 by 20. So to check that, you need a piece of paper. So I'm going to grab this one. You need to put a piece of paper down here. Oh, and look, that is not 20 by 20. So someone's been using the machine. They collimated it down because you can see the light field. And it is not at 20 by 20. So to change that, what you're going to do is use these 2 buttons here. And I believe pushing them to the left, yeah. I push them left and you can see the light field is expanding. And you just keep going until it stops. So now you can see the piece of paper, it says maximum. The maximum is 20 by 20. Now obviously, if you want to only irradiate a certain part of your sample, and if it's really important to you that you don't irradiate the whole sample, then you can use these buttons to collimate it down. So it goes all the way, let's see how far down it goes. I don't even know myself how far down it goes. Holy cow. Oh wow, you can close the whole thing down. I did not know that. So you can get a really, really small radiation beam there if you want. But for everything else, unless you have a compelling reason to collimate it, you want to do the same thing every time. So the default is 20 by 20. So I'm going to expand this back out to 20 by 20. All right. So, shelf install, check. Fidelity 20 by 20, check. Filter, last and most important thing. If I'm doing animals, I want the F2 filter. So I got F2 in there. We're good, but you might want to just give it a little push, just in case the last person didn't push it in all the way. Give a little extra push. If you're doing a Petri dish, you need the F1 filter, which is down here. You take the F2 out and put the F1 back in. So that's our last check. So we're good to go. And now you can start your irradiation. So you can put your animals in or whatever it is you're going to do. I'm going to close the door. By the way, it's very safe. There are magnet sensors here. You see these here? It cannot irradiate if the door is not closed. So now it will irradiate, and before it will not. So you cannot hurt yourself. You cannot irradiate your arm. It's not possible. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start irradiating things. So we're going to irradiate that piece of paper. So lower panel, enter. Lower panel, enter, dose, and MU. So it's gray times about 8,000. So let's say we want to give one gray. That is 8,011 MU. So I'm going to put it in here. 8,011. So you can double check your dose here. It says 8011, and that's good. So next up, in the lower panel, you hit enter. And then push the big green square start button. And when you fire it, the light turns on, and this blinks. So when the light is on, then you're radiating. Now while you're radiating, if you want to watch what's going on, there's a window. So you can look in there and see what's going on. Now there's a little bit of radiation leakage at the window. It's about 2 microsievert per hour. So my hand right now is being irradiated with 2 microsievert per hour. Now that's very little. You would get the same amount of radiation if you're eating a banana every 12 minutes. As there's radiation in bananas. So there's basically no radiation. It's quite safe. However, I do not recommend that you stand here. There's no point in doing this. You always want to err on the side of caution. So when you're radiating, I would stand back a bit. So the next step was we wait for the radiation to finish. And it can tell you right here on the screen, it tells you how much has already been delivered versus how much you've prescribed. This is again an MU, because this machine doesn't know gray, it only knows MU. So it's almost done. Okay, so the light went off. It says exposure is complete. X-ray is off, enter to proceed. So that's the last step, you hit enter. Okay, now we're going to do it again. So again, the sequence is enter, dose, enter, green button, wait, enter. Again, enter, dose, enter, green button, wait, enter. So you're just going to cycle through this over and over until you've irradiated everything that you want to irradiate. So let's do one more. Let's do, let's say half a gray. So I'm going to go enter. It's about 4006 or something. Enter again. Square button. We'll just stand back just to be on the safe side. Now this machine can get very warm. I'm actually getting warm as we're standing here. If you're going to do a very long exposure, you're going to want for sure to have the door open, have lots of airflow in here if you can. Although this is COVID time, so because of COVID, you might want to let the door close. If you're going to do a really long exposure, it's going to overheat, so you'll have to let it cool down and then continue to irradiate. Alright, so it's almost done. So the last step is you got to hit enter. You can't forget that. The whole thing will get screwed up. So it's enter, dose, enter, fire the X-rays, enter. So there's 3 enters you have to do. One here, dose, another one, and one at the end. So 3 of them. Yeah, we're almost done. Really, that's all, and then we're going to turn it off. So you turn it all the way counterclockwise. And we'll wait for it to stop the fan. So, okay, you can cut now.